And joining us this morning is Representative Terry Redon, a member of the House Committee on Justice, to discuss the latest developments in the impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte. Good morning, Congressman Terry, and thank you for being back here on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, so Congressman, first off, what did you make of this move by the Vice President to elevate this matter before the Supreme Court to stop the impeachment proceedings? What does this say about her legal strategy?
Well, again, I think the most recent update on the matter is that the Supreme Court did not issue a temporary restraining order yesterday. Instead, it just ordered the House and all other respondents to basically make a comment on the petition of the Vice President and of the other parties, no? So, I think yan po yung inaasahan ho natin at ang ibig sabihin po niyan, the impeachment hearing on the 14th and in the next couple of weeks will proceed. More importantly, Mr. Madriaga will be attending on that date, on the 14th, and all of the subpoenaed documents from the BIR, from the SEC, and from all other agencies will be presented on the 14th and in the succeeding hearings.
Well, as you pointed out, Kong Terry, ang ginawa ng Supreme Court is to ask the House of Representatives and the House Justice Committee to comment on the petitions and not to issue a TRO just yet. Does that mean the court doesn't find any solid basis yet to issue this temporary restraining order?
I think we should look at it as that the Supreme Court wanted to get a little bit more information, no, on this particular case. And very important, they said that without necessarily giving due course to the petition. Ibig sabihin, pwede pa hong i-dismiss outrightly ng Korte Suprema if it remains unconvinced after the comments of the respondents had actually been given to them.
But you, Kong Terry, called the petition of Vice President Sara Duterte as a misrepresentation of facts. But what specifically for you are the biggest inaccuracies in her arguments? And ito ba ay expected legal strategy ng kanyang camp? Or would you say this is also a tactical move to delay or even to evade the proceedings?
Well, mahirap po magkaroon ng kaso on the basis of deception, of lies, of a misrepresentation of the truth, no? Kasi yung po nga pinakabago doon po sa kanila pong petition, which they had never mentioned in previous interviews, ay yung fact daw po na walang valid referral from the House of Representative as a collective body to the House Committee on Justice. Ang sinasabi po nila, it is just the Speaker, it is just the Committee on Rules that referred the 4 impeachment complaints to the House Committee on Justice. Hindi ho yung totoo. We had seen the footage. The referral was made in plenary by a Deputy Speaker. Ang sabi ho dun mismo, to the Committee on Justice. So, sa papaanong paraan ho, pwedeng sabihin ng kapo po ng atin pong pangalawang Pangulo na it was just the Speaker or it was just the Committee on Rules that actually had made that referral. It was clear for the nation to see that it was the plenary itself, no, that had referred it to the House Justice Committee. And secondly, they were insisting that there should have been a deliberation prior to referral. Hindi ho yung totoo. There is no requirement from the Supreme Court, from jurisprudence, from the rules, and from Constitution that there should be a deliberation prior to a referral to the Justice Committee. More importantly, none of the allies of the Vice President, none of her relatives had objected or had filed a motion during that plenary session objecting to that referral. So, ibig sabihin, talagang they were given the chance to object, to make a motion, they did not do it. No? So, yun po yung most important misrepresentations that had been stated by that complaint, by that petition.
But what about itong one-year bar rule, Kong, because that's also a central argument in the petition of the Vice President. She alleges that there was a violation of the one-year bar rule. But are you confident that that does not apply in this case?
Alam po, yun yung pangatlong imbento po ng petition po na ito, no? Kasi ang one-year bar rule po, umiiral lang po ito pagka meron na pong actual referral to the House Committee on Justice. And nakita naman ho natin that there was an actual referral. Ang gusto ko nilang ipakita, noong pong itinabi daw po at nagkaroon ng withdrawal ng unang dalawang complaints, no, yung pong Castro and D complaints, dapat ho ay hindi na ho in-entertain ng komite yung pong ikatlo at ikaapat po na complaint. Panlilin lang na naman po sa mga kababayan po natin yan at sa korte, kasi nga ho, sinabi ho mismo ng Duterte Supreme Court decision po of last year, no? Na yung po Committee on Justice, yan po yung komite na magsasala kung ano ho yung mga basurang complaint, ano ho yung mga dapat pong mga complaints na tumatawid po papuntang Senado. So, ibig sabihin, yung sinasabi ho nila ay wala na naman pong batayan, panlilin lang sa atin pong korte, sa atin pong mga kababayan.
Per Congressman, the issue of acquiring more evidence is also being questioned multiple times by the camp of Vice President Sara Duterte. No? And in this petition, they even cited the DOJ's updated standard in preliminary investigations, which is now prima facie evidence or the reasonable certainty of conviction. So sabi po nila dito sa petition, it should be established only by the evidence at hand and not by the procurement of additional evidence. Well, as we know, last month, the committee has subpoenaed several documents and also even individuals. But can the same rules apply po ba doon nga sa DOJ where there's prima facie evidence needed compared to impeachment proceedings where, as we know, is sui generis din naman. It's in a class of its own.
Alam po ninyo, panlilin lang na naman po at pag sisinungaling na naman po yung pong ginawa po ng kampo natin po ng Vice President on the matter po nung NPS rules, no, on preliminary investigation. Kasi ang sinasabi nila, dapat evidence at hand lang yung pong ginagamit, katulad daw po sa PI. Pero hindi totoo. Nakalagay ho mismo doon sa manual na yung pong piskal during preliminary investigation can do several things. They can issue subpoena ad testificandum, subpoena duces tecum on any evidence, no, on any document to provide clarity to the case. So, at yan naman yung ginawa basically po ng committee po to get additional evidence from those that are relevant to the particular impeachment proceeding. No? And more importantly, yung po again, the Duterte Supreme Court case po of last year, ang sinasabi po doon, the committee is basically a body for the reception of evidence. No? And this includes testimonial and documentary evidence. So, yung pong binabanggit nila na dapat evidence at hand lang po, hindi yung totoo. Panililang na naman po ito sa korte at sa atin pong mga kababayan.
Well, the Supreme Court has given the House of Representatives 10 days to respond or to submit its comments on this petition. What happens next, Congressman Terry? And do you think magkakaroon pa ba ng possibility ng procedural gray areas that the Supreme Court could interpret differently?
Katulad ng binanggit natin kanina, dahil wala pong TRO na in-issue ang atin pong Korte Suprema, magtutuloy po yung mga pagdinig. No? So, syempre, gagawin po ng Kongreso yung kanila pong mandato within the bounds of what had been stated in the Constitution, in our rules, and in jurisprudence relating to impeachment. No? So, ibig sabihin, kung ito po ay mga clarificatory hearings lang po, talagang yung pong usapin halimbawa ng extended or extensive testing of credibility or cross-examination, hindi ho namin yun gagawin. No? So, basically, talagang pagtingin lang ho doon sa mga additional evidence na i-elicit, no? Mula po dito sa mga bago pong mga sinabi ng mga dokumento at mga tao.
And it seems all set na po ang House Justice Committee sa next hearing ninyo on April 14. That's next Tuesday already. What should the public watch out for, Kong Terry, dito sa April 14? Ano? Will this be a turning point already in the impeachment process, especially since the court already granted the appearance of alleged bagman Ramil Madriaga?
The 14th will be a focus on the misuse of confidential funds. No? At I think yung most important testimony from that hearing date would be yung pong pagsalang po ni Ramil Madriaga to provide truth to his affidavit. And very important ho din sa amin kasi syempre, to be able to test the contents of his affidavit. Kasi syempre, we don't know him at grave po yung accusations po talaga niya on the Vice President. No? Kaya maingat din ho tayo doon sa mga particular na detalye na babanggitin po niya. But aside from Mr. Madriaga, isasalang po doon yung COA and yung pong congressional records. No? Kasi dyan po nanggaling yung pong reports relating to confidential fund misuse, yung Mary Grace Piatos, at yung pong mga paggamit lang daw po ng confidential funds for non-confidential expenses, katulad po ng team building activities.
And I believe kasama po sa mga sinapina ng House Committee on Justice, Congressman, pati na rin si Ombudsman Boying Remulla. Is he required to attend the hearings personally?
Hindi mo kailangan si Ombudsman Remulla na siya po yung magpakita. I think binanggit na rin naman po ng Office of the Ombudsman po ito. Kasi mayroon po ibang official po ng opisina nila, yung pong repository po ng mga SALENS. No? So, ang expectation lang ho natin, yung po merong actual knowledge on the SALENS of the Vice President as a Vice Mayor, and as Vice President. Yung po maisasalang po ng Office of the Ombudsman. But of course, malaya naman po at pwede din man hong magpunta si Ombudsman Remulla sa amin pong pagdinig.
Well, Chairperson Congresswoman Jervil Luistro has emphasized na itong hearing proper, ano lang yan, di ba, Congressman? Clarificatory hearing, and you will be establishing probable cause, determining probable cause. What are the clear limits sa isang clarificatory hearing, Congressman? Ano po ang mga pwedeng tanungin at hindi pwede tanungin without the committee crossing into a full-blown trial?
Well, I think yung po limitation po ng clarificatory hearings ay dapat yung questions po will have to answer whether or not the member of the committee is convinced that there is probable cause. Para tumawid po yung kaso papunta ho sa Senado. Ibig sabihin, pagka halimbawa, extensive testing po of the document, extensive testing po of the credibility of witnesses, no? Tingin ko, ano na po yun, higit na ho yun doon sa determination of probable cause. No? So, I think we have faith naman po on the chair na siya po yung magde-determine kung lalagpas ba o hindi yung po mga House members when they undertake the questioning or the examination of the witnesses po on these particular hearing dates.
And how will you ensure, Kong Terry, na meron pa ring due process on the part of the respondent, given that they won't have a chance to personally cross-examine the witnesses? And syempre, yun nga po yung nire-raise din nila sa kanilang petition, na they won't be given due process at this stage. And I believe even Attorney Michael Poe said previously, they have nothing to gain by attending these hearings personally. How would you respond to that?
Well, again, to be very clear, no, yung pong mga preliminary investigation naman po sa mga piskalya, which is basically what we are comparing the hearing proper stage to, wala naman pong karapatan talaga mag-cross-examine, not just the respondent, but also po yung complainant lawyers, no? So, hindi ho totoo na hindi ho sila makakapagtanong dahil wala naman ho talaga nakakapagtanong ng mga partido. Not the complainant, not the respondent. No? Ang pwede lang ho talaga magtanong in a preliminary investigation would be the fiscals, the prosecutors themselves. So in same manner, yung pwede makapagtanong lang po talaga ay yung pong mga miyembro po ng House Committee on Justice. Yun yung una. Pangalawa, alam po niyo, in each and every stage of the proceeding, pwede po mag-present ng evidence ang atin po pangalawang Pangulo. That is an absolute right that is granted to her. Pero syempre, sa dulot-dulo, siya ho yung magpapasya. No? If she will attend and if she will present evidence during hearing proper in her defense.
And just as a final question, Kong Terry, the Vice President remains popular in recent surveys. Top contender pa rin po siya when it comes to pre-election surveys for the presidential race in 2028. 53% of Filipinos are also against the impeachment, although there are a bit of nuances there. But how does that affect how the committee approaches this impeachment proceedings? In a sense that should the Vice President win in 2028, baka balikan naman po niya yung mga kongresista na bumoto dito sa kanyang impeachment.
Well, alam po ninyo, survey blind, popularity blind po yung accountability mechanisms for the impeachment, no? So we will just proceed as we should. It depends on where the evidence will lead us and whether this will go towards plenary voting and into the Senate, no? So, ibig sabihin, I think yung 2028, masyadong malayo pa ho ito para pag-usapan ho natin, no? But again, we are laser focused on accountability. If there is evidence to impeach the Vice President, then I think whatever the consequences of that today or in the future, I think we can bear it as lawmakers and as members of the House Committee on Justice.
All right, we're going to have to leave that there for now. Thank you so much for always sharing your time with us here on Morning Matters. That was Representative Terry Redon.
Thank you. Good morning.